Hi, today we'll be talking about freelancing platforms. Now I'm pretty sure you might have heard about freelancing platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, Freelancer, all of these fancy platforms out there, and I'm pretty sure you might have seen a lot of YouTube videos recommending these platforms. Now even I've recommended these platforms in the past, but today I'm going to tell you why I hate these freelancing platforms and why I've never used these freelancing platforms when I was doing my freelancing. Now a long time back, Upwork was started in 2015, and back then it was called Elance Odesk, and the purpose of these freelancing platforms was very simple. If a client wants to get their work done, they go to these freelancing platforms, put their gig out, and then freelancers can bid on that project. And a lot of people got jobs, a lot of people were able to connect with clients, and everything was going smoothly. But then came the oversaturation part, right? Every time you find a way of finding clients, there'll be supply and there'll be demand. And soon over time, especially in 2020, when a lot of people have lost jobs and there are so many students and unemployed people out there, everyone started flooding these freelancing platforms. And here's the thing, there was a lot of supply but very few demand. So what that meant was every time a client posted a project, you'll have hundreds of people applying for these projects, and it'll become very difficult for the client to decide to whom this project should go to. I'll give you an example. A couple of years back, I think 2 years back, I put out a gig on Freelancer about a graphic design project, and I got more than 50 bids in a matter of few minutes. That's how many people who apply to each project. So the next time you're applying on one of these freelancing platforms, remember that you're not the only one applying. There are hundreds of others who are applying to the same project at the same time. There's so many people from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh flooded on these freelancing platforms. Now the question is, with so many people on these freelancing platforms, how do you stand out? And you can stand out using two ways. The first one is reviews, and the second one is a solid portfolio. If you have a really good portfolio, then the client might trust you. But something that's more important is reviews on these platforms. Now, a client would blindly trust a person who has, say, 100 reviews versus a person who's just getting started with 0 reviews. Now here's the issue that most of you guys would face. You would go to one of these freelancing platforms, you would apply for the gig, and then the client would never respond because you have 0 reviews. Why would the client trust you? Because you're very inexperienced. So it's very rare for people to get these opportunities, especially when you're starting out. They would rather trust a very experienced person versus someone who's just starting out. And if you want to tackle that issue, then you'll have to frame a really good bidding message saying, hey, I'm just getting started, I'll do it for a really cheap price, do trust me. And secondly, have a solid portfolio, right? I've seen so many people who have never done anything in Photoshop and they call themselves graphic designers. Like, if you're a low quality freelancer and if you're applying in one of these freelancing platforms, then the chance of you getting a job is almost nil, right? So remember, you need to be very skilled. You need to have a solid portfolio. The moment people look at it, they should be like, wow. And then using these two skills, you'll have to start applying to get more reviews. And this is where it gets tricky, because even if you have a really good portfolio, there are chances you might never get a job because you might exhaust all your bids and then the client would never respond back. And that's why I hate these platforms. You might be skilled, but because of the competition, you might never get a job. The solution to this is approaching people directly, right? Ask your friends and family, ask your relatives, ask your friends of friends if they know someone who might require your services. Ask your LinkedIn connections, ask your college alumni, ask your colleagues at work, or use platforms like Crunchbase and AngelList and Glassdoor to see which startups have recently raised money and which startups are hiring, so that you can apply to those jobs or even freelance for those startups because they have cash to spend. Also, keep an eye out on TechCrunch and Your Story to see which startups are getting funded so that you can strike the iron when it's hot and approach them at the right time when they might need your services. I feel having a really good understanding about how the industry works, understanding which new startup is coming up, which new business is popping up, which business actually requires your services, being active on social media is a better way of knowing where demand is and then going and supplying. It's a very simple thing. Wherever you see demand, just go and supply. The problem with freelancing platforms is that there's a lot of supply, so demand is less. I'm not saying that Upwork and Freelancer and Fiverr don't work. It works for a lot of people. A lot of people earn a living using these platforms. You just have to try. It's a very long process, but the best way of doing it is to stay on these freelancing platforms and at the same time try approaching people directly. Another thing to keep in mind is that in most of these freelancing platforms like Upwork and Freelancer, you'll mostly have small businesses who are on a very tight budget. They might not have they might not give you too much money for doing their work. You won't have huge glamorous startups and companies coming on freelancing platforms. It's pretty rare. But you can sometimes find really high quality projects, so keep an eye out for that as well. Now, for those of you who are using Upwork and one of these freelancing platforms, one of my friends, Somrat Datta, is a professional freelancer. He mostly gets clients by directly approaching them, but at the same time, he has gotten few clients through Upwork as well. Here are a few tips that he has to give to people who are using freelancing platforms. Do give it a watch.
तो देखो, फर्स्ट क्लाइंट मिलना, आई विल बी वेरी प्रैक्टिकल एंड वेरी ऑनेस्ट, फर्स्ट क्लाइंट मिलना इज़ वेरी वेरी हार्ड, क्योंकि आपको भी पता है हरीश की ये ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म काफ़ी सैचुरेट हो चुका है अभी. तो फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट थिंग इज़ टू हैव अ गुड पोर्टफोलियो. बट सिर्फ अच्छा पोर्टफोलियो होना से कुछ नहीं होने वाला. आई मीन लॉट ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स आर वेरी गुड पोर्टफोलियो बट दे आर नॉट गेटिंग क्लाइंट्स. तो आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा ऐसा एक जॉब जिसमें आप डिफरेंशिएट कर सको. ठीक है, तो मैं आपको बोलता हूँ मेरे फर्स्ट क्लाइंट के बारे में. तो शी वॉज फ्रॉम सिंगापुर. ओके, सो शी वॉज लुकिंग फॉर अ वेडिंग वीडियो एडिट दैट वॉज जयपुर थीम्ड, राइट. सो मैंने ऐसा मैसेज में लिखा था, जैसे अभी कभी भी आप अप्लाई करो किसी जॉब में तो आपको एक मैसेज लिखना पड़ता है उसमें कि लाइक आपका स्पेशलिटी क्या है, आप क्या क्या करना चाहते हो, आपके पास कोई सवाल है आप पूछ सकते हो. ठीक है, तो in that I wrote ki like I am from India and that would be a differentiating factor and I know the taste of Indian weddings and how things go around. So that way my message was much more personal and it was a differentiating factor because जिन लोगों ने उसको अप्लाई किया था she said me that they were from USA and other places, Pakistan and places. So that way I got my first job. So differentiating you from others is really important because it's a very saturated market, and once you get the first client, the other clients are not a problem because I kept getting some requests also from some clients to get photography के लिए एक बोला था, editing के लिए बोला था. So that's how I got my first client. I mean being patient is really important. Like मेरे पास इतना टाइम नहीं है, like you need a lot of time to get your first client. So it's better you be patient and keep applying. And देखो advice यही है कि I mean just don't give up because it's very difficult to get a first client. I was also मेरे को भी लगा था कि I have so many online offline clients. Like I was getting other clients from Facebook and other startups and like that and through LinkedIn. But I was also thinking कि यार अभी तो मिल जाएगा, clients बहुत आसानी से, Upwork के साथ आसान होता है because you can see a lot of projects, $100, $200, $50 के इतने सारे projects and इतने easy edits है उसमें. So I will think हाँ बहुत आसान है, but getting the first client is really difficult. I won't really lie, you have to be really patient and also keep working on your portfolio and keep letting your community know that you do this work. ये एक चीज़ है जो मुझे बहुत हेल्प किया because I have a YouTube channel also and I have this Instagram thing. So उसमें I keep posting my stuff and tell that I do this kind of things और मैं ऐसा सर्विस देता हूँ. तो if people don't know that you provide such services, so how will they? So that way also they can connect you through Upwork. Like आपको कोई offline में भी पूछे, like Facebook के थ्रू, कोई WhatsApp के थ्रू कोई पूछे कि like आपके लिए ये काम है, आप कर सकते हो क्या, तो then give them your Upwork profile. So that way you can convert your offline clients to your online clients. So that is also a very good way if you already have a existing client base.
That's pretty much it, guys. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please mind subscribing and also share this video with your friends who are getting into freelancing or who are trying to monetize on their skills. And that's pretty much it. I hope we meet the next time. See you. Bye.